1943. The skies over Hamburg turned black, not from smoke, from flak. Thousands of shell bursts erupt at 26,000 feet, creating a wall of shrapnel and fire that Allied bomber crews call the meat grinder. Inside those formations, B-17S and Lancasters shake violently as fragments tear through aluminum skin. Hydraulic fluid sprays. Engines catch fire. Men scream. The weapon creating this hell is the German 88mm flak gun, the most feared artillery piece of World War II. It will down hundreds of Allied bombers, kill thousands of airmen, destroy countless tanks, and murder its own crews at a horrifying rate. Only 1 in 5 flak gunners will survive the war. How did an anti-aircraft cannon become the deadliest tank killer on any front? Why did the Germans position these guns around targets guaranteed to be bombed? And what made the 80s fire control system so disturbingly advanced that it could coordinate multiple guns to create killing zones in the sky? Before we go further, understand this. What you're about to hear isn't legend or exaggeration. This is documented military history, kill ratios, crew survival rates, engineering specifications. The story of a weapon so effective it redefined multiple roles of warfare, and so deadly it consumed the men who operated it. If we don't share these stories, we forget that technological brilliance means nothing when it kills both sides equally. So hit subscribe. Make sure these lessons stay loud. The story begins in the early 1930s. Germany was rearming despite the Treaty of Versailles. The treaty specifically banned development of tanks, aircraft, artillery, and other weapons. But behind the scenes, our undercover operations and shell companies, Germans were doing exactly that. World War I had proven that aircraft and military operations were there to stay. By the 1930s, air power was evolving rapidly. The threat was no longer just reconnaissance planes or fighters. New strategic bombers could fly at altitudes beyond the reach of small arms and low-caliber anti-aircraft fire. They could carry payloads powerful enough to flatten entire city blocks. Germany needed protection from this threat. Krupp engineers were tasked with developing a new high-velocity cannon. Substantial requirements: must reach high altitudes, must track fast-moving targets, must be mobile. Through trials and errors, they created what would become the 8.8-centimeter Flak 18. Flak is short for Flugabwehrkanone in German, literally meaning anti-aircraft gun, or the term flak caught on worldwide. Even today, people say, "I got a lot of flak for that," referring to the heavy criticism. The origin is German anti-aircraft fire. That's how much impact it had on Allied airmen. The cannon was built to fire high-velocity, time-fused shells, set to detonate at specific altitudes. Shower bombers with deadly metal fragments. A direct hit could obliterate any aircraft of the time. Near misses shredded wings, engines, cockpits, enough to bring planes down or force them to abort missions. It was accurate, powerful, could rotate and elevate quickly in all directions to track fast-moving targets. Thanks to its advanced cruciform carriage, it could elevate from -3 degrees to 85 degrees. This range came in handy for attacking ground targets as well. That would unexpectedly give it a new role soon. The gun weighed about 7 tons, crewed by 10 men, designed to be towed by truck or half-track. Mobile enough for the blitzkrieg tactics Germany envisioned. A well-trained crew could deploy it from travel position in minutes, even fire from its wheels in emergencies. But here's the dark reality. As the war progressed and turned against Germany, flak crews changed. Increasingly old men, wounded soldiers unfit for frontline duty, young boys from the Hitler Youth, even women, especially in communication and radar roles. Over 1.2 million people served in the anti-aircraft defense arm of the Luftwaffe, almost half the entire force, and their survival rate was horrific. But we'll get to that shortly. What made this cannon truly ingenious was the system around it. Much like other German equipment of the time, and everything was designed for maximum combat effectiveness. They didn't know it then, but they'd created arguably the best gun of World War II. It didn't take long to see combat. A few units were sent with the German Condor Legion to the Spanish Civil War for testing. 1936 to 1939. The results got the attention of high command immediately. The 88 was deemed the best anti-aircraft weapon available. But no one fully realized what they had yet. How it would take on roles never envisioned for it. You never know what you'll face on the battlefield. 88Ss in Spain were used for anti-everything when needed. Besides downing planes, they blasted bunkers, infantry positions, and most interestingly, tanks. Tanks of the time had barely enough armor to stop small arms fire. A direct hit by a high-velocity anti-aircraft gun was devastating. This would change completely when the new global conflict erupted. Besides time-fused and high-explosive shells, 88s got armor-piercing versions as well. 1939, Germany entered World War II with just over 2,600 flak guns. Twice as many as Britain. America had almost none. Germany's prediction about needing such weapons proved correct. They would produce about 21,000 units of different 88 versions throughout the war, but their crews would pay a steep price for manning such weapons. Music. By this time, they were refining the design. The Flak 36 introduced a multi-section barrel, easier to replace when worn. New cruciform carriage called Lafette 36. Sped up deployment. Steel shield for crew protection. Against enemy fire and shrapnel. Other ergonomic improvements. The barrel was lengthened. Shell with longer propellant case introduced. Our even higher muzzle velocity. The Flak 37 followed with better targeting instruments. Most importantly, a data transmission system. Allowed guns to receive targeting information from central fire control units. They also had direct view sights for ground targets. But the sophisticated fire control system gave 88s their notorious effectiveness in anti-aircraft roles. This was a mechanical analog computer, coupled with rangefinders, acoustic devices, later radars, would automatically calculate and feed aiming data to all guns in the battery. A central command crew tracked targets, determined speed and altitude, aimed multiple 88s at predicted interception points. They made calculations based on several parameters, aimed guns at points in the aircraft's predicted path. By the time planes reached that point, shells would meet them. You'd time fuses set to explode right around them. How do you calculate where an aircraft will be 20 seconds from now while it's maneuvering and your shell is arcing through the air? How do crews coordinate multiple guns to create a killing zone in three-dimensional space? The mathematics were complex. Altitude, speed, wind, shell velocity, fuse timing. All calculated mechanically in seconds. Unlike the Allies who developed proximity fuses, revolutionary technology that detonated shells automatically near targets, Germans never fielded effective proximity fuses. They stuck with time fuses throughout the war. Lower effectiveness. Shells often exploded too early or too late. Still, the sheer volume of fire a single battery put out guaranteed planes weren't returning home. Effectiveness dropped as the war progressed. Allies deployed countermeasures, radar jammers, electronic warfare. Average shells needed per kill rose from 4,000 early in the war to 16,000 by 1944. But don't let statistics fool you. Through the entire war, flak was unavoidable and extremely feared. Downed hundreds of Allied planes, killed thousands of airmen, forced crews to bail out over German territory, captured, imprisoned. But this went both ways. Allies knew flak batteries were deadly, targeted them in every conceivable way. Fighter bombers, strafing runs, suppression bombs. The 88 had high muzzle velocity, around 2,700 feet per second. effective vertical range of 26,000 feet, more than enough to reach most Allied bombers. Flat trajectory, excellent accuracy at long range for ground targets. High rate of fire, up to 20 rounds per minute, thanks to semi-automatic sliding block breech. After firing, it recoiled. Ejected spent casing automatically. Loader inserted new round. Gun could be set to fire automatically upon insertion. The 88mm shell weighed just under 10 kilograms. Inside was about 1 kilogram of explosive. Steel casing designed to fragment into deadly shrapnel upon explosion. Those black puffs you see in wartime footage. Each puff sprays about 10,000 fragments at high speed. Lethal radius 10 to 15 meters. Bombers were aluminum-skinned. Armor only around critical components. Crews almost unprotected from flak. Fuel tanks, engines, hydraulic lines, all vulnerable. Later, Germany introduced heavier flak guns, 10.5 centimeters and 12.8 centimeters. Massive shells, 15 and 26 kilograms. Double and triple the explosive filler. Much scarcer than 88 seconds. But devastating in the sky. But now, how did this anti-aircraft cannon become an anti-tank sniper? At the war's start, Germany established complete air superiority over Europe. Anti-aircraft batteries didn't have much work. Few encounters with heavy Allied armor. French Char B-1. British Matilda II. Standard 37mm and 50mm anti-tank guns couldn't penetrate them. 88s were called in. They obliterated heavy tanks effortlessly. However, Erwin Rommel proved just how effective 88s could be against armor. May 1940, Battle of Arras in France. British launched a surprise armored counterattack against Rommel's 7th Panzer Division. His light panzers were pushed back, whole position at risk of being overrun. Rommel ordered all available guns to lower barrels. Fire at advancing British tanks. They decimated them. Germany began thinking seriously about 88s in anti-tank roles. A high muzzle velocity, great accuracy, flat trajectory, good optics. Perfect combination for open desert warfare. Would prove valuable on the Eastern Front too. Germans developed special armor-piercing rounds. Panzer Granate 39 and 40. Explosive filler to cause internal explosions when armor was penetrated. Could penetrate 100 millimeters of armor at 2 kilometers. More than enough to endanger any Allied tank at the time. Then came Germany's rude awakening. June 1941, Operation Barbarossa, Germans faced heavy Soviet armor. KV-1 and T-34 tanks. Standard anti-tank weapons struggled. 88s were called to help. For a brief time early in the Eastern Campaign, they were almost the only means Germany had to knock out Soviet heavy armor. But this effectiveness came with vulnerability. Flak crews became prime targets. Fighter aircraft, bombers, tanks, snipers, infantry. Everyone targeted 88 positions. High command realized crews needed more protection and mobility. This led to the PAK, Panzerabwehrkanone, anti-tank cannon. Redesigned 88 mounted on armored vehicles. Put on the Tiger I tank. Entered service late 1942. If you know World War II history, you've heard of the Tiger's 88. How much Allied tankers feared it. Tank destroyers like Nashorn and Elephant used further improved versions. The PAK 43. These vehicles had reliability issues, but their guns were described by both sides as the best anti-tank guns of the war, paired with superior optics. Could destroy any Allied tank at ranges where return fire was impossible. Sergeant James Bates, a Sherman tank commander with the U.S. 3rd Armored Division, survived 3 tank knockouts during the Battle of the Bulge. In a post-war interview, he described facing 88s. You didn't hear it coming. Just a flash, then your tank was burning. We'd see Tigers at 2,000 yards. We couldn't touch them at that range. They could kill us all day. 5 of my crew died in those tanks. I still dream about it. It didn't help Germany win the war due to many other factors. But it wreaked havoc on Allied tank columns in dozens of recorded instances. By 1943, the tide of the war in the air turned decisively against Germany. Music allies sustained 24-hour bombing campaigns, targeting valuable German industrial facilities, also hitting civilian targets, accidentally or deliberately. Flak crews had to be constantly alert, ready to defend their skies. They were positioned around the most valuable targets: factories, refineries, rail yards, cities. Logically, their risk of being hit was extreme. 8 Allied bombers dropped flak suppression bombs, time-fused cluster munitions, designed to explode over suspected gun positions, shred crews with shrapnel, flak batteries attacked by fighter bombers in strafing runs. Casualty rates skyrocketed. By the war's second phase, 50 to 70% casualties, even higher in final desperate months. Why did only 1 in 5 Flak crew members survive the war? Because they were positioned exactly where bombs fell. Because they couldn't take cover while operating guns. Because Allied doctrine specifically targeted anti-aircraft positions. Because the 88's effectiveness made it priority number 1 for destruction. Most flak batteries were hastily dug in or positioned in the open. War was moving rapidly. No time for elaborate fortifications. Sometimes they were set in concrete emplacements for better protection. And we must mention flak towers, massive fortified anti-aircraft gun platforms. They acted as anti-aircraft systems and air raid shelters for thousands of civilian refugees. Fortress and battery built into one self-sustaining structure. These are overlooked in history, but they were among the most heavily fortified and technologically advanced defensive structures Germany built during the war. 8 major flak tower complexes: Berlin, Hamburg, Vienna. Each tower built of reinforced concrete, walls 3 meters thick, able to withstand direct hits from 500-kilogram bombs. Multiple floors, ammunition storage, hospitals, supplies, shelter areas, heavier versions of flak guns. 4 twin-mounted 12.8-centimeter cannons, supported by 88s, or then 37mm and 20mm automatic cannons for defense against low-flying fighter bombers. Although impressive with extreme firepower, they couldn't provide much defense, simply too few of them. Allies would avoid and try to go around them. As the war ended, flak towers became last-stand fortresses, some of the last positions to fall. Today, some have been transformed into museums you can visit. Hans Weber served as a flak gunner on the Zoo Tower in Berlin from 1943 until the city's fall in May 1945. He was 17 when he joined the crew. In a 1985 interview, he described the final months. "We fired until the barrels glowed red. The Russians were everywhere, shells falling on the tower constantly. Half our crew was dead by April, boys my age, old men who could barely lift the shells. We knew it was over, but we kept firing because stopping meant execution for desertion." The 88mm flak gun represents both brilliance and tragedy, an engineering masterpiece. Revolutionary fire control system, deadly in multiple roles. But it consumed its crews, positioned them in kill zones, gave them a weapon so effective the enemy would do anything to destroy it. And destroy it they did, along with the men who operated it. Today, surviving 88s sit in museums worldwide. The Imperial War Museum in London, the Bovington Tank Museum, the Deutsches Panzer Museum in Germany, the Smithsonian. Visitors can see the cruciform carriage, the long barrel, the fire control instruments. But they can't hear the sound it made. The distinctive crack as the shell left the barrel, the whistling as it climbed toward bombers, the explosions at altitude creating those black puffs. They can't smell the cordite, feel the concussion, see the spent casings piling up around the gun. Most importantly, They can't see the faces of the teenagers and old men who crewed them, who died at a rate higher than almost any other position in the German military. This isn't ancient history. This happened 80 years ago. Some Flak Tower survivors are still alive. Still remember the sound of Allied bombers, the whistle of falling bombs, the screams when shells hit their positions. The lesson is clear. Superior technology means nothing if it positions users in certain death. The 88 was the best gun of its type, most versatile artillery piece of the war, but its effectiveness made it a priority target, and that killed its crews at horrific rates. If this story moved you, make sure you subscribe right now. Drop a comment below and let us know your thoughts on the 80s legacy and the men who operated it. Thanks for watching, and please share this video with anyone interested in the military history. These stories of innovation and sacrifice must never be forgotten. These voices must stay loud.